Hello guys, this is me here. So today we're gonna do a brand new review on a monster that I have never done before, and I can't wait to show it. It's the most famous Ultraman monster, Red King. I know it may sound weird, why is he called Red King if he's not red? But I will tell you why. But first, let's take a look at it. So this is the Ultra Monster 500 series. You can just see how it has, Red King and Ultraman. I don't know why it looks like he has pupils, or maybe that's just his eye thing. Kind of weird, but there's the original Ultraman. He's number 14. He is 45 meters tall, 20 million or 2,000 tons, or something. So that's, cool that they give out, and probably says some information about the monster, but, don't really know much about it. So let's get started, and, let's get started. So first, I got this thing actually from, what is it called, from eBay, and it's actually quite cool, um, because, in websites like Amazon nowadays, they don't have stuff like this. I'm gonna be back for a second. Okay, there we go. So here is Red King, and there's a tag here if you want to know. Nothing that special with the tags. The only thing you should do is just keep the tag if you want to know what the size, how tall he is. So, yeah. Sorry about that, folks. So anyways, so yeah. So if you guys don't know about Ultraman, this monster is known to be one of the most popular monsters ever. If you heard monsters like Bolton, Gomorrah, they are like known to be one of the most popular monsters. And he actually appeared twice in one series, which is even cool. Like for an example, he appeared in an episode with a monster called Chandler. Chandler was this monster who had wings. He looked like a Pigila, but with um he looked like Pagila, but he had ears instead. And he had like this fang teeth. It's kind of odd looking. But unfortunately, I don't have him. But I do have a monster that kind of goes with the first episode he appeared in. I'm not saying it was the first episode, but it was, the first time he appeared in it. I got it over here. I don't have, Chandler or Pagila or anyone like that, but I do have a monster called Magular from the series. Before we do the size comparison, he at first appeared in the original Ultraman. I think it was episode 8 or something, called The Lawless Monster Zone. His subtitle monster is very crazy because he's called basically the Skull Monster, so he's basically a skeleton, but to me he looks more like a corn or some dinosaur or whatever with scales than a skeleton. Whatever. He at first was fighting this monster called Chandler. It's not Chandora, it's Chandler. What happened was at first it bit his arm, and after when his arm was bitten from Chandler, he kind of, I don't know, turned him around and just tore one of his winged arm, and when it was running away from all the pain, he threw it and threw some rocks at him so that he wouldn't come back and made it look like he's, a monster you should not mess with. Sorry about that, folks. It's like every time I'm trying to do something, everyone keeps going inside the room. I don't know why. I try to tell them stop and they won't listen. Sorry. So after he threw the rocks to make it look like he was a tough monster, which indeed he was, he's a very, very powerful monster, probably like Gomorrah. There was a monster like this, which came out of the ground called Magular. Magular is basically a reused Naranga suit. So they're kind of like brothers. Just joking. So he didn't really fight Magular. The Magular was actually fight and killed by the Science Patrol, and then I don't know if it was after that, Ultraman came to the rescue. This one, and I don't remember how he killed him. Some people say he did this, where he lifted him up like that, so that his neck would be broken, and then, he's like this, and then he just dies like that. I think so. I don't remember how it went. I have seen the episode, but I don't remember what how he dies or something. But yeah, he's dead, unfortunately, from Ultraman. He didn't have to use any, slicing, tearing up. He just had to, it was just a simple fight, kind of. But he was powerful, though. What's very funny was that, I don't know if it was after or before, a monster called Abaraz had to be reused from Red King. And I don't know if it was this particular Red King or it was another Red King suit they made, but they at first was called Abaraz. He appeared like I think the third time, not really the third time in the original Ultraman, but what they did was they reused the suit, or they probably made another suit identical to this, and then they made a larger T-Rex looking head and called it Abaraz. Abaraz was this blue foam monster from, I don't remember what episode it was. It was from an episode called The Demons Rise Again or something. But if you look at if you actually compare the two, they actually look very identical except for the head and the color. And actually, that reminded me of something. They should actually, I think there is a toy version of Abaraz from the 500 series, but if you can't get that, you can just simply take a Red King and you can either chop the head off or just leave the head but put a chunk of clay to make it look like Abaraz and paint it blue. That's probably what you can do with this, because he still looks like, it's almost identical anyways. I don't see any differences. But yeah, his suit basically appeared in an episode called The Demons Rise Again with Abaraz and Vanilla. I'm not going to explain the history about those two, but let's just say, his suit reappeared. And I don't know if it was, like I said, after. I think it was after this one. They decided that the head would be chopped off, the Abaraz head, and they would reuse it for another Red King, but this Red King was called Red King number 2. Red King number 2 looked very similar. Well, it almost looked the same, except its head was slightly pointier, and it had a more of a greenish color than this one. And it had pupils, which looks kind of more goofy looking, but it was okay. I don't have monsters like, I don't have Gygas, but I'm gonna just use some creature that is kind of similar, King Kong. I know King Kong did not appear, but, that's the only Yeti ape-like creature I have. And I don't have a regular version of Duraco, but I do have this revived version, which I'll do a review on. We'll go to the scaling later, but at first, it was in an episode called the Comet Siphon, or something like that. I don't remember what number episode it was, but it was called the Comet Siphon or something. And I believe he was the Comet Siphon, because it actually says he's a comet monster. At first he was beating up, we're just gonna have to use King Kong as Gygas or Gigas. Oops, sorry about that.